Seems ages since I've been on here. A little bit anxious about getting on, actually. Isn't it funny when you don't do something for a while? It's sort of like, oh, shall I shanta. So I have been off for a while because I've been recovering from being at the sort of, over on the other side of the pond. I've been swinging my leg over in that's a funny saying, isn't it? In America, and went to Florida and had a couple of weeks over there, and was thoroughly treated and spoiled and looked after, and delivered my first ever Healing Parents conference. So a lot of people have just recently friended me. So and some people don't manage to get into the group. I hold a group, Facebook group called Healing Parents of Estranging Adult Children. So if you're in that sort of like that field of having all that horrible experience going on and you want to join the group, just send me a group request again. Because sometimes people it's a bit of a mismatch on how everybody gets into the group. But I speak to everybody on Facebook Messenger, so you could always reach out to me on there if you want to become a member. It's a closed group, so only members see the comments and the posts and everything. So if you're an estranged parent and you want some support, do ask to join, because it's a good space. There's just over 900 people in there. So I trotted off to Florida. It was amazing how that came about. It just sort of evolved, and Dawn Elizabeth, who is one of the team that is now springing up around this, at like 4 of us together, sort of like joining up and steering this, with me sort of leading on it. She's been running her own group under the Healing Parents umbrella, and we're exploring setting up some more groups. So we've got some more group holders who are in various locations around the world, and there's all sorts of things going on with Healing Parents. It's very exciting, and I want to share today because primarily I set this up and I had no vision of how I would monetize it, how I would sort of support myself and pay myself a salary. I have got some one-to-one clients who are estranged parents, and some other clients as well. Not just a handful, not very many. And I want to share this because it's a big moment for me. Today in the bank account that I have that is just for Healing Parents and sort of like the running costs, I've tipped over into the £1,000. So we've got £1,000 in the don't know how much that is in dollars. I can never remember the exchange rate. For the first time ever, we've got a substantial amount of money in the Healing Parents service delivery pot to allow us to publish a book, sort the website out, all these things that have like been backing up for quite some time that just need some money behind them. And I've booked, I'm going to do the next conference in the UK, so that's in October. So if you're a UK person and you're an estranged parent, you can bez it up north or down south or across or wherever you are, and it's going to be in Ilkley. It's going to be at the Craiglands Hotel in Ilkley in October, and it's going to be a 2-day, a conference and a workshop. And yeah, so pencil it in your diary, and there'll be more information coming out in the group, and I'm sure it'll be trickling out onto my personal line here as well. And it was scary to do a conference type talk, and I did it, and I want to do more, and I wouldn't mind getting on to doing a TED talk, so I'm putting it out there. I'm going to get one of those a round red rug and start standing on it and practicing. You only have to talk for 20 minutes, for goodness sake. I'm sure I can do 20 minutes. And I've got a really nice little framework to pin my talk on, which is my story, my vision, my purpose, and my invitation. So those 4 things are sort of like the framework for a talk that I could take anywhere. And it's up for bets what comes out in those topic areas. But you know, I've got a sense that I'm sort of like explaining all around estrangement. It's such an unusual. I mean, I couldn't cook this up. You know, I had no plan that I would ever do something like this. And I can see that and maybe you can see in your own life as well, that the steps, the experiences that we have in our life sort of amalgamate into some sort of experiential understanding of things, and then up comes this, you know, like people talk about what's your purpose and why you're here and what's your dream and what are your goals, and then there's that saying, isn't there, you make plans and God laughs, and it's sort of like a bit like that, you know. And I've never really sort of like had this, I've just gone from one thing to the next, thinking, nah, I'll try this, I'll do this, I'll go be an NHS public health specialist, I'll train to be a coach, I'll do fitness qualifications, which is like sort of all muddled up, I'll milk cows, I'll mend roofs, I'll drive tractors, you know, like all those things that you just get given to you to experience. I'll ride horses. I've never done anything on the water. I've had my first experience, well, no, it wasn't quite, but I had an experience of driving a boat on the water when I was in Florida. That's not my first experience of being on the water, but some people, you know, some people who live by the sea have that seaside lifestyle, don't they? And it's fascinating to me how I've just collected all this experiential stuff, and then I can see that all of the stuff like project leading and all the things that I did under the NHS banner, you know, like communication, that's always a bit dodgy though, that one, isn't it? Shall I send this email now or not? All those things, all those skills that I didn't realise I had, you know, team leading, taking minutes, setting agendas, all that sort of thing, looking at the big picture, looking at the small detail, all that sort of thing has sort of like all come together. Different healing modalities, all the stuff that I'm practicing in my own life and then sharing. And a big push to be authentic and real and not hide stuff. I shared today about how, ooh, can I talk about it on here? What I don't want you to know about me is that at the very start of being estranged, you know how Facebook is such a place to vent and also imagine that you're pricking somebody else that maybe you want to just like have a prick at, you know, like you want to poke them in some way, make them feel something. I have to hold my hand up here and say in the very early days there were material and things that I was putting on my timeline that I was thinking would I'm trying to think of the word, that my daughters would see, that would make them stop and think about what they were doing, that would make them feel a little bit of shame and regret, and I can see that I did that in the early days, and I can also see that I don't do that now, because I don't believe that they're watching. I think they're just doing their own thing now, not following me or whatever. You know, there's all that stalking stuff that we do as well. You know, we go hunting around for pictures of people that we love and that we've been blocked from, you know. So I don't know where I was going with that. Being authentic and being open and being truthful about my funny bits, my dark side, the bits that I don't want everybody to see. I mean, there's a part of me that's going, oh my goodness, you know, like to actually try and trigger your children into feeling something because they're treating me, they're cutting me out of the life. You know, it's in those early days I do recognize that they were sort of like in my head, I was filtering it. You know, when the intention is such, you know, if you look at your intention of why you're doing something, why you're saying something, you know, what is the reason, what is the purpose that you're doing something? And if I hold my hand on my heart and honestly say, you know, I had got an intention for them to think, ooh, my mum's writing that, and, you know, and feeling something around that, maybe trying to get them to contact me or whatever, I'm pleased to say that I've come out of that process. And I'm also pleased to say that I can share it, because I know that it goes on for many, many, many of us, that sometimes we're doing something to get something back, you know, that, yeah, just wanting to get something back. You know, the intention is possibly not as based in our integrity as much as we'd like it to be. Respect and integrity. Oh, dear me. It's been a great process, and, you know, and over in Florida and doing that for the first time, and you're gathering people together who are all in a similar position of being rejected by their adult children, and probably have got, well, some of us not seeing grandchildren as a result of that, you know, and a sort of family breakdown, disintegration, and how we all deal with that, you know, how the processes that we go through, the things that we do that we think we wish we hadn't, you know, like chasing, or like I was saying, you know, trying to instill some response from people, you know, like calling people out on their stuff, and, you know, and it's such a process, it's a real path to self-discovery, and ultimately to self-love, so that where I'm at now is that I love my children, and, you know, it's okay that they're doing what they're doing, you know, I have no contact with them whatsoever, and you know, and that for me at the moment is fine. And what I also see as well in the group is that some children come back, you know, like this somebody recently who's had a very long-term estrangement going on, you know, this person has approached their parent and asked for a reconnection conversation, or asked for a conversation anyway, which after 19 years, like, that's amazing that somebody could be out of somebody else's life but still feel connected to their parent, to the degree that this person's now reflecting maybe on what they've done, and want to change it, you know. And I do sense that potentially for many of us who are estranged, you know, that is going to happen, that adult children will come back in later years and ask to come back and trying to reconnect. And I'm exploring the setup of a new group that's going to be a paid membership group called Reconciling Parents of Returning Adult Children, because I think we need to skill ourselves up in some communication tools and some feelings management, so that when adult children in 10, 20, to however long years time come back, that we can do something differently, that we can have some conversations with communications that are different to the ones maybe that they left us with. And also managing our feelings, because I have no doubt that it's very anxiety ridden, and that can get in the way. It can come out as fear and a little bit of anger and resistance, you know. And are you going to be closed and shut up and walled, or are you going to be slightly risk it and have an open heart and be available to listen without all this, do you remember what you did? You know, I think those conversations, the historical conversations, I think come 6 months, year, 18 months down the line, when the relationship, you could have that. Do you remember when? And maybe there's lightness around it, rather than, or self-explanation as to why those things happened, you know, so that there's no sort of no-go areas. Wouldn't it be great to have relationships with no-go areas, where you don't have to skirt around issues that you think, I didn't mention that because they'll go off like a firework or a Christmas tree or whatever, you know, and it's skirting around the elephant in the room thing, you know, and having to be careful, and that's on both sides, you know. I just think relationships that can be really open and honest and share what's going on, and as I've developing that with Stephen, you know, like, we can, in that moment, we can say, what's going on for you? Oh, I'm telling you what's going on for me. Without anybody getting upset and falling out and slamming doors and throwing cups around, or whatever it is that you do when you're pissed off. Oh dear me. Wouldn't that be great, just to have a relationship like that, where you felt safe enough to say, I'm feeling really off today, and you know, when you did that, it really got to me, but you're owning your stuff around this. And so I can say that to Stephen, and he'll say, oh, okay. And he can do the same to me, you know. He can say, I'm feeling really fed up today, or I'm feeling angry, and I don't take that personally, you know. And I say to him, do you know why? And he'll probably give me a reason of some sort, And even if it is me, you know, I think, well, you know, just because I didn't wash up properly or whatever it is, you know, it's like I just don't take it personally because he's in his anger, and I can sometimes even say, you know, what is it that you would like from me, you know, instead of me going, well, I'm going out then if you're going to be like that, which I've done in the past. It's so nice to be in a place where you can just be yourself and not worry that the other person's going to join you in your upset, whatever that may be. Oh. Let me have a look, see who's on with me. Tammy, Erin, hello. You'd love it. Eggshells, yes, eggshell walking. Terrible. Let's all do the eggshell walk. Joanne, Gloria, yeah, it was great to see you in Florida, hun. Angelique, Jackie, Carolyn, Dariana. Good morning, Jackie. Debbie. Grace. Hi, Grace. Claire. Clara. Anna. Hi, Anna, hun. It's lovely to see you all on. Welcome back. Have I been met? I think I might. Somebody said that they'd missed my lives. Dawn. Hi, Dawn. Lee. Hi, Lee. And Miranda. Oh, bless you. I got a heart. I got a red heart. Okay, so I think I'm back on. I think we'll do this on a regular basis. And I never know what time. It's just a look of the draw when it's not raining. Today it's been a bit spitty, so it's when it's not raining and when I'm not working. So I love you lots, and I'll speak to you again real soon. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.